right. Okay, guys, here we go. Here we go. Look at this. I mean, inside 7SIGNAL, I mean, we've got a frames tab right here. Let me show you what some of the capabilities are. This is totally cool. Actually, let me scroll down to the bottom and show you some of these things that we're measuring. Beacon channel utilization. Look at that. So 7SIGNAL is looking at all of the beacons on every single access point. And we're actually like, you can mouse over this and you can see, wow, this access point in this location, 3.25% of the airtime is being taken up by beacons. All right. Now, 3%, big deal. 1%, big deal. But in some environments, that could be a big deal. And it's important to kind of see what's going on. You know this. We all know this. Some organizations, they've got, 3, 4, 5, 6 SSIDs, and they're all beaconing, and they're, all these different bands and all of these different SSIDs. It can add up. And so we want to be able to see that, and we can do that right here in 7SIGNAL. What else can we see on the frames tab? Let's take a look. Look at this. This is in frames per minute. The probe response density on a channel. And you can, again, you could mouse over this and you can actually see, wow, this access point, this sensor, this is what it's seeing on this channel with regards to frames per minute. What else can we see? Let's keep going a little bit here. Here's probe request channel utilization. So we're not only getting the frames per minute, but we're also getting a rate or a percentage of utilization. So you can see here that probe requests itty bitty, teeny tiny in terms of how much airtime is actually being used. Probe response, a little bit of a different story. And I'll tell you what, guys, 4%, you go to Madison Square Garden, that's nothing. You look at the probe responses in an arena, and it is like crazy, reaching the rafters, if you will. And organizations have to be able to see that in order so that they can make different adjustments. Now, granted, you go into your controller and there's these different thresholds that you can set in order to ignore all of that stuff. And you have to do that. Otherwise, the air would just be overwhelmed with all of these probe responses. It can get really ugly. Let's keep going. Uplink data, downlink data, data volume. Okay, now let's keep going here. I wanted to get to one, right? Okay, so here's the QBSS channel utilization that's being broadcast. And you can see how high this percentage is right here, pretty crazy. And to Keith's point a moment ago, he said, look, it's trying to do the best it can and, and all of that. And that's why at 7SIGNAL, we do our own airtime utilization calculation, which is right here, total airtime utilization, where we're actually, we do our own little packet captures and our own little sniffs, and we're actually looking at all of the frames, and we're actually coming up with our own estimation, our own calculation. And usually it meets QBSS channel utilization from your controller pretty well, but sometimes it doesn't, so it's important to have that, and that's why we calculate it ourselves. Now, we were talking about Wi-Fi 5 and Wi-Fi 6 a moment ago. Yes, in 7SIGNAL, you can actually see OFDMA airtime utilization. And here you can see total is 0. We're breaking it up into upload OFDMA and download OFDMA. So, and these percentages are so small, it's really just kind of coming back as 0. Look at this, guys, 0.09%, just fractions of a percent. But what it does is it kind of allows us to see if OFDMA, if Wi-Fi 6 is in effect in our environment. There were a lot of promises. Oh, Wi-Fi 6, OFDMA, it's going to allow this channel sharing technology. Are we even taking advantage of it? Is it actually even being used? Do we have clients in our environment? Is this actually helping? And so now you can actually see if, in fact, it's helping because you can see how it's utilized or not in your environment. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So now we're looking at airtime utilization. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Frame size, client frame size in bytes. Multi-use, so right here, now we're looking at retries, multi-user retries, which is your OFDMA, versus just regular old single-user client retries. So just like Keith said, we're looking at those retransmission frames. How many are there? Okay, and then what's the percentage of them compared to all of the frames that are in the air? And that's how we come up with a retry rate in 7SIGNAL, as you can see right here, 20%, 25%. All Wi-Fi networks have retries. But we try to get this, it's just the nature of the protocol. If it doesn't get through, let's retry. But if we can keep the retry rate below 30%, then we're going to be just fine. It starts climbing into the 30s, 40s, 50s, just like Keith said. Whoa, this is a noisy environment. And, maybe we need to do some remediation. Now, the second thing that I wanted to show you that Keith was talking about were those data rates and those MCSs, because the MCS is like a tremendous score that really helps you with identifying the health and wellness of clients in your environment and how they're interacting with the RF. So let's slip on over to the data rates tab right here and let me show you what we got. So here's an example, okay, in this Los Angeles area on this access point. These are the MAC addresses. So as you can see over here, guys, when we do our little sniffs, we're getting the OUIs and we're getting the MAC addresses of every single client that we can hear that's connected to each and every access point. And you can see those all right here. Okay, when you see Intel corporate, I want you to think of your Dell and your Lenovo laptops. Okay, when you see unknown, then that's usually an Android device, an Android 11, or a Mac OS that's scrambled its MacBook, or that scrambled its MAC address. Okay, down here you can see, and here's Apple, so maybe these are some older Apples where the MAC address, the OUI is not scrambled, and we can tell what they are. I'll tell you what though, sometimes you see really cool stuff in here in terms of all of the clients that are using Wi-Fi in our environment. Just like Keith said, this is public. You can do anything you want. All sorts of people have written all sorts of different things to work. This AMPAC technology, you might say to yourself, what is that? I don't understand. So what do? You go over here and you look up AMPAC and you see, oh, wow, okay. Industrial devices, smart speakers, IP cameras, tablets. Oh yeah, okay, that's that AV equipment that we have over in the corner now. Now I know what that is. And what's its health and wellness? Can we infer what the experience is? Well, of course we can, because we can see its MCS right here. And so you can see right here, and I can mouse over these little bars right here, and it's going to reveal the IP or the MAC address of that device. If I can get it, come on. I might have to zoom in. There we go. And when I do that, I can mouse over this little guy right here, and it should tell me what the MAC address is. Maybe not lucky today. That's fine. But I can see that over here correlating to the color, and it actually enables me to see, okay, is this device actually performing well or poorly on my network? Honestly, when I see a lot of devices at this MCS 4, 5, 6, I'm like, wow, what's going on in the environment? I really would hope to see more of like a 6, 7, 8, depending upon, the data rates that I expect out of my environment. But it's here for you. The data rates telling you the health and wellness of different kinds of devices connected to access points. And not only that, but right here in 7SIGNAL, the frames. And if I were to just show you a quick list of all of the different options that we have available to you in 7SIGNAL, let's go to expand all and check it out. Okay. Our sensor is gathering everything, and a lot of people knock 7SIGNAL. Hey, Eric, you guys have too much information. But I'll tell you what, guys, when it comes to solving tough problems, you're going to be glad you had this information and these metrics and statistics and measurements at your disposal. I mean, it just keeps going
I
on.
don't know if you can have too much information because it's a computer. You have filters. You can filter it out.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that greatly, because it's true. The data is there for you. We try to have a good default set of parameters that kind of show you just the basics. And I can show you that right here. If we were to go to the basic KPI list, these are the basic things that we try to show people. But look at everything else that's available to you, everything that you need in order to solve tough problems. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. This has been fun. I love these tech talks with you, Keith. Always learn something new, and I appreciate it. And I just wanted to remind you and everybody else out there listening today, thank you for coming. And just remember that while you and me, we can't see or hear Wi-Fi, it's invisible, but 7SIGNAL can.